is truth in journalism, where brave men and women gave voice to the voiceless. But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative hid the truth of mass suffering, injustice, and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo. To expose this shift to oligarchy came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. From sea to sea, the people were empowered to share their truth. Their voices no longer stifled, reclaimed their power. Join the media revolution now.
Hello, everyone. How are you in Status Quo land? It is your humble video director, Joseph Francis, filling in for Jordan today, as Jordan is working very hard on a story that I think we've teased it enough as a juicy T-bone steak or a juicy veggie burger, whatever you would like. Bottom line is this will be good news. Bottom line, this will be amazing. And he is working hard to get this working. He is working hard to make sure that the story gives all the facts, and it's going to be fantastic. So in the meantime, you're stuck with little old me. I am here trying to make sure that you are getting the most energy you possibly can. And getting the most news and no blackout dates. We never take a break. We work hard for you guys. So definitely want to welcome everybody in. I hope you're having a great day. A bunch of things to get into. First and foremost, it was election night yesterday. A lot of, I want to say steps in the right directions, but at the same time, I don't think there was things that we could completely be happy about. There were some losses. And a little boring here in New York City, but across the country, some really good stories. Also, CNN at it again. I mean, when you look at what happened, what they're promoting and what they're going to do for a particular candidate, well, guess what? I'm going to tell you right now, it's not exactly the best way that you can think about that is going to come down and everything. Also, I want to say that Amazon, back in the news, they actually won a battle. It's very sad to say they won something. As if Amazon didn't have enough, they won something. So we got that. We also got a touch on a global warming story coming to you from a scientist perspective. Once again, I think that's always the best way to have a perspective, because these are the people that are the smartest people on the face of this planet. They should be giving us the facts and the knowledge, and I think they've put out a pretty good report. And what I will say is a couple of more plugs of upcoming projects. But in the meantime, before we get into all of that, I definitely want to remind everybody, and truthfully, this is what we have to do. And I understand that there were some people saying, enough with the shameless plugging, and oh my God. But this is how we grow. And right now, we need to grow because we want to tell more stories. We want to tell better stories. We want to get out there live, get out there and give you facts that you and the general public do not know about. We want to give you that. So if you have not liked the live stream that is happening right now, please click below and like the live stream. If you haven't become followed us on Twitter or Instagram, guess what? Please do, because that's also how we're going to be putting some teasers and promotions and information of what's going to be coming next. Also, if you haven't given us your email, give us your email so that way we can let you know what's coming up. That way you can keep you informed on Status Coup business. That way you could be in the know. And of course, we definitely want everyone, if you can, to donate in the GoFundMe. And the GoFundMe is a big deal because this is how we get out there and give you stories. We're going to Keystone in about a week and a half. We're going to give you some live stories and some good things there. And I'm going to tell you right now, it is a very good thing that we're going to be there. So the GoFundMe right now, we are like less than $700, actually close to $600 from $82,000. I mean, from $81,400 and from $82,000. I stand corrected, my original assumption. Obviously, we're trying to get to the original goal of $85,000, but I will tell you right now, we're very close to $82,000. So I would love to tell Jordan when he gets off and he's finished typing, I would like to say, yeah, we got a bunch of donations. So if you got any amount of money, we would love it. We would appreciate it. And it'll be something that we are definitely in need of, because this is how we make our money, is through you people. You guys fund us. We don't go to other companies. We don't take any dirty money and where guys are like, hey, we'll give you $10,000, but you have to, plug our ad, plug our company and make sure that we're great. We don't do that. We are funded by you, the public, the Status Coup Nation. So, definitely, if you have not liked us, please like the video below. We got about 150 people watching right now. 75 of you would like. Please press the like button. That'd be greatly appreciated. And definitely, if you like us, share us. Sharing is caring. So definitely share us to all your social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are our second day on Twitch today. So the second day on Twitch is going to mean we have another distribution method so we can get away from the YouTube suppression that we have been involved in for so long. So we're getting into the story right now. So the first thing, definitely election night was yesterday. If you didn't vote, I totally understand. And I got to tell you, I vote every single year. Yesterday, I did not get a chance to vote. And I apologize profusely, because I always tell everybody that I want to vote. I want to get out there and vote. But yesterday, there was just so much being done. We had so much ready to go. We had so much to do. Didn't have time to vote. But what I will tell you is that, it was election night. Was definitely election night was definitely a good interesting night. I know a lot of people have heard, in Virginia, clean sweep. Democrats now control the Senate, the Congress, and the governorship of Virginia. This is a good thing because Virginia typically, and I have friends in Virginia who might be watching right now, that Virginia is definitely a Republican state. Definitely a Republican state. I believe in 2016, Trump carried Virginia pretty with ease. It was almost a landslide. However, correct me if I'm wrong in the super chat. So, at the end of the day, Virginia is now a Democratic state. Virginia is now something that is 100% controlled by Democrats. And at this point, that leads to, hey, we're going to get some stuff done. We're going to get some progressive things done. We're going to get some better things done. And I think that's a good thing. I think that is a very, very great thing to do. However, Kentucky also had a big win. Governorship in Kentucky. And I happen to have, once again, I have family in Cincinnati, Ohio. They might be watching as well. I know Cincinnati, Kentucky, that little rural area of Cincinnati, that is an area very Republican. Hugely, you'll go in there and you go around and you'll think, oh, it's got to be Democrat, because there's a lot of poor neighborhoods, there's a lot of rural neighborhoods, there's a lot of urban neighborhoods, and you say Democrats. I've never lived in a poor neighborhood, and I've lived in quite a few poor neighborhoods in my life. I grew up in a poor neighborhood where we were thinking Republicans were on our side. I never spoke to anybody in my neighborhoods that did that. East New York, Brooklyn, Cypress Hills, Brooklyn, and Ridgewood, Queens. I never had any of those. And guess what? Kentucky has a Democratic governor. I believe the first time in about 20 years, if I'm not mistaken. And I definitely believe that there is a movement happening. I think everybody is tired of Republican rules. I don't think anybody thinks that this is the problem. Just want to say really quick, Rebecca, sorry you did not get the notice for sorry you didn't get the notice for letting us know when we're live stream. That's YouTube at its finest. Unfortunately, we send out the live stream. I actually have friends. I actually have a bunch of people in my corner that are saying, hey, I don't get the live stream. I don't know what's going on. So I have to text them and say, I'm tuning in. I'm going live at this. For some reason, for half the people, it lets them know. Half the people, it doesn't. So that's why it's important for you to be on our email list, because we're going to start sending that out to email and say, hey, we're going live at this time. So that being said, but it was definitely a movement that is happening in this country where people are kind of tired of Republican. I think Mr. Orange / clown, that's how I like to call him. I will never call him Mr. President. He doesn't owe that respect. But he has definitely 100% moved a lot of Republicans that would normally say, hey, I'm Republican, I'm going to vote Republican. I even know some people who have said, I always vote Republican. A couple of people voted for John McCain way back when. People who voted for George Bush twice have literally said, either I'm going to vote for the Democratic nomination, or I'm not going to vote. Because this guy is clueless. He's not only clueless, he's not intelligent, he's not respectable. And I love to corner phrase, and I'm getting off topic here, but I love to corner phrase that if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it ain't a damn mongoose. And that's just the bottom line. And that describes Mr. Orange as much as possible. I don't care what it is. We don't know what's dirty. We know there's many things dirty. So there's a lot of people that are just tired of it. So what you're seeing is, from last night, a lot of Democratic progression. The GOP won the governorship in Mississippi. However, it was closer than they expected. It was a lot closer. I mean, it was like, I want to say it was like 51 to 49, and it was like thousands was the difference. So that was definitely something that a lot of people are on the Republican side are not comfortable with. And on the Democratic side, even though they didn't win, they noticed that Mississippi, typically a Republican state, guess what? Not so Republican now. Not so Republican. It's more Democrat. So 100%, that way. John Wick, Joseph knows sign language. I'm a New Yorker. We talk with our hands all the time. We talk with our hands. Anybody who's from New York in the chat, back me up on this. We talk with our hands. That's what New Yorkers do. I want to say, a couple people asking, where's Jordan? And Jordan, you have changed. I am not Jordan. I am Joseph. I am a video producer and director for Status Coup. But I am filling in for Jordan because Jordan is watching. He's writing a huge, huge story, and he is working on it. And when you're in your zone, it's hard for you to get away and do live streams. So I volunteered, and graciously he accepted and let me go on this to do this, so that way he can work on this, because it's a big story. It's huge. That being said, the one thing that I will say is that despite the fact that there was a lot of wins on the Democratic side, and there was a lot of wins for, I feel, humanity, because right now the Republican Party seems to not be humane. They seem to be immoral. They seem to just not want to do what's right in the span of what's happening in this country and society and the world, in this planet Earth. There definitely was a loss, okay? And it was a loss for the Progressive Party and the Democratic Party, but it was also a win for Amazon. And I love that a lot of people were asking, how did Amazon win? How did Amazon win? Well, taking it to a good friend of mine, Calvin. Hope you're watching, Calvin. We're going to his neck of the woods. He's actually best friend. Taking it to Seattle, Washington. And Seattle, Washington is, has been plagued by Amazon and the homelessness. I'm going to show a video in a little bit of Jordan, what he recorded, because I think it's just a good reminder of what's happening in Seattle, just so that you can know. And what happened is in Seattle yesterday, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, but a city council member by the name of Sharma Sawant, I hope I'm saying the name right, apologize if I'm not, who has been a true progressive in the span of just wanting, understanding that $15 an hour is the minimum wage and needs to be the minimum wage, understanding that we need a green deal, understanding that she was trying to enact that for Seattle, for the sort of the city reigns there, the city boundaries there, and she was trying to get a green deal so that Seattle could be more green. And a bunch of other things that, Medicare for all she supported. I believe she supported student loan forgiveness, and a bunch of things. And she had been there, I believe, since 2013, if I'm not corrected. That's when she first took office. And about a year and a half ago, Amazon, and I want to actually go back, Tim Flobug, Kashwama Sawant. Thank you so much. I was looking for that. I wanted to do that. She has been that champion in Seattle. She has been on the city council. She has blocked several things that Amazon was trying to do in terms of housing, and something that was super important. She was one of the voices that spoke up against Amazon not paying taxes. And we all know Amazon hasn't paid any taxes. They've used the idea that because they employ so many people and because they give so many people opportunities and whatever the case may be, that they shouldn't pay taxes. And the fact of the matter is that Amazon should employ the people they employ and pay taxes because they can afford it. I mean, if they paid taxes, I'm sure they would still be one of the wealthiest companies in the world. Like, that would be a hands down, like, whatever. However, she spoke out against Amazon all the way, against the things that they wanted to do. Over the last year, Amazon has spent $1.5 million to make sure she was not reelected. And everybody says 1.5 million is not that much considering its campaign, but you're talking about a city council seat. City councils aren't spending millions of dollars on campaigns. They're the ones footwork. They're going door to door. They're knocking. They're making phone calls. They're not spending. You might see a city council. I know here in New York, I don't think I've ever seen a city council commercial besides on New York One, where New York One only charges about a couple of $1,000s for like 2 or 3 weeks of running, if I'm not mistaken. Media knowledge coming in handy there. City councils don't spend a lot of money. They don't have the money to send it. Amazon spent $1.5 million to make sure she didn't get elected. And to them, that's a speeding ticket. That's for everybody out here, it's a parking ticket, it's a speeding ticket. For her, it really took her out. And the thing that I want to say is that the race was pretty, and I'm going to say the race was pretty close. Her opponent, Egon, I think it's Egon Orion, won 49 to 36. It was 11,000 votes to about 9,000 votes. And once again, it's city council. So you say to yourself, 11,000 votes, not that much. It's a city council seat. So when you put that in perspective, 1.5 million, what? It's kind of crazy. So I look at it and I say that was a win for Amazon because the person who they elected, the person who's in Mr. Orion, he supports Amazon. He said it multiple times over multiple campaigns. There's multiple things that he said that I want Amazon in the Seattle area forever. Like, he believes that that's good for the Seattle area. And this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to say devil's advocate here, okay? And I know a lot of people may not find this popular, but here's the bottom line. Amazon is something that I'm sure everybody uses. And if you don't use it, it's because you just, like, morally you don't want to do it. But at the end of the day, Amazon is making a lot of money, and they have money that whoever is president in 2020, hopefully at this point, Bernie Sanders, they're going to have to pay taxes, and they're going to have to pay back taxes. And I actually love that because then they're going to have to pay penalties, and those penalties are going to go to the American economy. Those penalties are going to help the middle class and the poor class and anybody else because they're going to have to pay for it. That's the point of getting a president in here who believes that Amazon needs to pay taxes. I don't want to see Amazon go away. I want to see Amazon change their ways. Because truthfully speaking, I use Amazon all the time. Unfortunately, it's a lot it's a lot easier than me getting to the store, which I don't have time to do. And I order things from Amazon. And sometimes I'm like, oh man, I don't really want to do it, but they have what I need and the price is reasonable and I don't have to go to the store. So I'm hoping that whoever gets in says, dude, company, you got to pay taxes and now you got to pay back taxes. So that's what we're hoping for. So, sorry if anybody out there does, feels differently, and obviously you're all entitled to your opinion. I respect anybody who says, I just don't want to use Amazon because they're crooked. But, I got to be honest with the audience. I always say I got to be honest. So right now, and just a really quick reminder, 84 watching and only 107 hit the likes button. If you haven't hit the likes button, please do so. That's how we get rid of this YouTube suppression. If you like us and you like what's happening, even if you hate us, you love us, you hate us, share us because we need more people. Social media, share us on Facebook and Twitter. So I want to play this video and then we're going to come back to this topic. Jordan did this quite a while ago. I think it was before I got here. I love this interview because at the end of the day, I believe that it hits on exactly what we're talking about. So have a seat, enjoy this, and let's go.
You see some of the tents around here. And what's your name, sir?
Sense.
Sense? Oh, Sense. Yeah. So we were talking. You've been at this location now for about 6 months, you said? Yeah. So Monday they're coming to sweep it up. We've been seeing that a lot. So can you kind of talk about what you're dealing with now? Because you've been here for several months, but now it's kind of like, where do you go when the city's coming in trying to sweep people out?
Yeah, it just sucks because we finally gathered enough stuff and got enough things to where we've accumulated some nice things. We have a little home set up, but now we're having to tear it all down. And the biggest hassle is now that I have all this stuff accumulated and I have some nice things, between me and my girlfriend. So where are we going to put it? How are we going to get it from here to another spot without other people stealing it? You know what I mean? Where are we going to set up? Is the spot that we set up in going to get, are we going to get told to leave in a half hour's notice like we did at Green Lake, or, a week out from now, are they going to come and, sweep us again? And it's just a struggle because we don't know exactly where to go. If we knew where we could go and set up and have some ground rules established, and some criteria to follow, then, we would set a standard, then we could, set that goal and, try and maintain a little community there. But it's just a struggle because, it's one thing for us to try and police our own stuff, but when we don't have anywhere for sure, people can say, oh, well, screw you, you don't own this area, you can't tell us how to do, yada, yada, yada. And so it's just a pain.
Do you feel like the city of Seattle or the state are trying to actually help folks like you, or just kind of get rid of homeless people?
Honestly, I feel like they're just trying to corral us in spots where they don't have to see us, or throw us in jail if they can for whatever reason. I think local law enforcement looks for whatever excuses they can to kind of throw us in jail, and to get us out of the way. And the rest of us, they just kind of corral the different spots, where people don't have to deal with them. Yeah.
And, so you've been at a couple other spots too, or this was your first spot in Seattle?
This is the second spot I was at. Initially, I was at Green Lake. I was right on the water, and nobody had hassled us. We kept it really clean and everything. There was zero garbage. It was just my girlfriend, myself, and our smaller tent. But one day they showed up. Everybody was putting bags out in front of our place. They said, you have a half hour to be out of here, or we're going to basically sick the cops on you. And there was 2 squad cars, and the cops were just kind of sitting at bay waiting for us to not move along quick enough, and then they were going to sick the cops on us.
And kind of talk to me about your story. You're from a half hour away from here?
Yeah, I'm from Yelm. It's a few hours south of here, and they have zero resources out in Yelm. But Olympia, the capital, is right near there, and you'd be surprised. I mean, for being the capital of the state, there's way more options out here than there is as opposed to Olympia, as far as resources. But I don't know, what else you want me to say?
And it just seems to me like you drive around these communities and it's all like fancy new housing, yet right next to that fancy new housing and nice neighborhoods is just endless amounts of basically tent cities where people are homeless. Do you think that's in part because of businesses come here and Amazon has come here and all that and driven up prices to the point where people can't live?
I mean, they got 12 freaking Google buildings down on the waterfront. You know what I mean? You see a couple of tents pitched out there, even. You know, but I don't know. It's nuts because I mean, you see so much stuff out here, and it's just surprising to me that they don't have something like they have a couple of little tiny house areas. You know what I mean? I'm surprised they don't have a certain area that, you know what I mean, they couldn't tell us that we could stay in and kind of police ourselves or whatever, you know what I mean? Because there's plenty of room out here, you know? I don't know.
And what's your story? Did you just like fall on hard times a couple of years ago, or how'd you get into this situation?
I was actually in an apartment, and I was asked to leave because I was arrested on the property, and that's my own fault, you know? I could have made different choices, but I made the ones that I made, and it ended me up being homeless again. And there's just nowhere out in Olympia for us to go besides, you know, shelters where they won't let us be together, you know, in a shelter because we're not married. And so we came out here just because, I mean, there's a lot more of us out here that are doing the same thing, and it's cool to get a group of people with the same, you know, the same things going on, and with, you know, that respect the same things and want the same things for each other, you know. It's just, so like, wherever we move, we're just going to keep basically my buddies, my girlfriend, and I in a tight little group, and so that we don't have to worry about people, you know, being little bedwetters and leaving all kinds of garbage and needles and stuff out, and, you know, watch our own stuff. And a lot of the problem, I guess, was that the crime rate went up since we've been out here, which is probably true, you know. But yeah, so I'm just hoping that if it's just our own little group and we're not out car prowling and stealing shit and, you know, looking like a bunch of junkies leaving crap all over the place, that hopefully they'll let us stay put wherever I find us, you know, to go next.
And other people you spoke to that are in your situation, other homeless people, are people like willing to work if they could find a place to live? Are they willing to kind of like do things in the community? Because it seems like it's not, for the most part, people unwilling to work or do things. They just can't afford to live anywhere.
Right, yeah, no, a lot of us are willing to work. I mean, I myself, there's a gentleman 2 blocks over, and I've done his brakes on his van. I've changed his oil. I tuned up his van and changed all the spark plugs on it for him. My buddy's actually a mechanic too, and like we do odd jobs for people in the neighborhood. I mean, if we can find them that are willing to deal with us, you know. So it's not that we don't want to work. One of the factors is I don't want to go out and look for a job and then, you know, come back and realize that, hey, in a half hour I had to have all my stuff and be gone again, you know. It's kind of difficult, you know, if you don't know where you can be at night to go out and go seek work in the morning when you don't know if your spot's going to be available for you to go back to sleep to when you get home, you know.
Yeah. And it's got to be hard, like psychologically, because like you finally feel like you have some stability here. Yeah. And then you find out, and you kind of like make a little home. You were showing me like you got a nice little sky view through the tent, but then like the city's coming to sweep you up.
Yeah, and it's just difficult because like we've tried to keep it clean. We've tried to keep people that are being a nuisance and being rude and like obnoxious to the community out, and it doesn't. I almost feel like it doesn't matter how much we've policed ourselves out here, that they're still wanting us to go anyway. You know what I mean? No matter how good we were or how much we didn't do the things that they don't want going on, that it doesn't matter, that it's just an eyesore and they want us out of here.
Would you have a message? Because obviously, you know, Jeff Bezos and Amazon, there was efforts by the city to put a employer tax where companies like Amazon would have to pay a little bit more, and that money would go towards, in large part, the homeless issue and trying to get people more housing. They fought like hell against that, Amazon. You got a message for Mr. Bezos or Amazon as far as seems to be a real indifference to people like you and your struggle?
Yeah, he's not going to waste any energy on us. I'm not going to waste any energy on him to even say anything, so.
My last question is, can you kind of talk about, you're here with your girlfriend, you said your friend. There's a lot of people, like we were in downtown Seattle last night, and you see people kind of lying in the streets, just passing homeless people, and it's kind of like it's kind of normal here, you know? People just pass and it's just part of life. What would you want people to know that are kind of just passing you guys in the street and not really thinking much of it? What kind of things do you need from the rest of the community and the country to know about, what you guys are really about and trying to do?
Just some understanding that everybody has different stuff going on in their lives, and I understand we all made those choices and put ourselves in those situations, but like we can all come from those situations. Like I've been in this situation and worse situations before and gotten back on my feet, and it's just a matter of first and foremost myself wanting to make change, but second of all, having any support. Support's huge. You make the right moves and people support you, you want to keep going in that direction.
And lastly, you hear Trump and these people talking about the booming economy in America. The economy's booming. Who the hell is the economy booming for? Because I see a lot of booming for, software developers and computer programs, but working people or just average people seem to be struggling just to afford anywhere to live here.
Yeah, that's a great question. I have no idea. I have no idea.
So, looking at that video, and this is something I've seen the video before, because definitely seen the video, definitely understand where that gentleman is coming from. We all out there, and I've said it before on air, we make mistakes, bad choices, things lead to situations that maybe don't take us to the right place we want to be. But, homelessness is not something to be taken lightly. I see people on the street, and, if I'm the type of person, if I have a food, if I have sandwich, I have something that I can give them, I'm giving it to them. I can always go get more. Some of these gentlemen and women cannot do that. And, I'm always, hey, I want to give to people less fortunate than me. But at the end of the day, I only have but so much. And I think the point and the message that you get across the board is these billionaires, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, several others, they have more money than any human being has. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm the type of person that I believe if you work hard for your money and you become a millionaire, multi-millionaire, billionaire, I believe there's nothing wrong with that. That's me personally. I believe that if you can have that ability to make that money, make that money. Okay? And I come from a family that didn't have money. I came from a family who had, drug abuse, and there was homelessness, and there were relatives of mine that lived in the projects in Brooklyn and Queens. And you make that money. If there's some sort of talent or education or knowledge that you have that can get you wealth, make it. But I also am of the belief that when you make that money, give back to people. Don't hoard the money. Give to charity. Volunteer your time. Give what you can to make society better. That's what it is. And I always say that what's the point of having that money if you're just going to keep it and hoard it? No, I'm going to get that money and I'm going to spend that money. And I'm going to spend that money not to the point where I'm going to go out and party and everything, although I will have a beverage or two. Nothing there. But I'm going to make sure that when I get that money, I'm going to help others. I'm going to help my family. I'm going to help friends. And I'm going to help strangers, because at the end of the day, I believe what you reap what you sow. And that is what I do. So once again, remind you, 192 watching, definitely hit that like button, like and share us. So I think that 100%, and I got some people in the chat, and I just want to say this, billionaires is, there's a couple people that said billionaires is not needed, or it's eccentric, or it's excessive. Here's my question, and this is something that I want to pose to everybody. If I make a product that happens to sell $1 billion worth of product, or $10 billion, or $20 billion, here's the bottom line. Here's the bottom line. How am I supposed to just stop selling that product? I believe it's the Newman, the Newman brand, Paul Newman's brand of food, that it got to a point where now they donate most of their profits to charity. And the thing is, they still made a couple of $1 billion off of Paul Newman lemonade, Paul Newman barbecue sauce, Paul Newman ketchup. Here's the bottom line. If you make a product and you are smart enough and working hard, and I'm not talking about inheriting money. I'm talking about working your butt off, where Mr. Orange inherited money. I'm It's about working your butt off. And that product just happens to give you $1 billion or more. I don't see anything wrong with that. But like I said, you shouldn't keep that. You should be charitable and you should give to those who are less fortunate, because that's how you build your legacy. Wealth and richness doesn't build a legacy. It's what you do with that wealth and that richness. So that's just my opinion. Totally 100%. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. And I get it. And I get that some people are like, wait, I don't understand what you're saying or your point. Fair enough. I think that, this is a situation that, and a lot of people are saying that Paul Newman salad dressing, exactly. A lot of people saying that charity is a joke. Well, charity's a joke if you are the person, if you make it a joke. And one of the things I know a couple of charities that are actually very good. They take their money that people donate and they give it to the cause. It's not like, oh, let me keep it for myself. I know a couple of them, and that's the point. If you have a charity that actually does that, it makes a difference. Believe me. That being said, I want this city councilwoman to win. And Jordan actually corrected me. He texted me. He was watching. He's like, I'm watching, but kind of not watching. It's about halfway counted, but she's down quite a bit. And, I hope that she makes that up, because they actually said that, I looked it up, there's about 60% of the actual major, highly dense populations of Seattle haven't reported 100% yet. So I'm hoping she makes up ground there. But at the end of the day, what I will tell you is that if she loses, it's going to be a win for Amazon. And Amazon has been fighting this, and $1.5 million towards a city councilwoman, like I said, they don't spend that much on the entire campaign, and they've done it in the last year or so, maybe even the last 9 months. So we're just talking about 100%. It's a very bad situation, and you hear it from people like the guy that was just talking, who it's like, why do I even care what I'm gonna say to Jeff Bezos? He doesn't care about the homelessness and the homeless people. He should be one of the leading people. He's in Seattle along with other companies that are there that should say, oh, I have $1 billion. Let me make sure I build some houses for homeless people. Let me build some apartment buildings, and let me make it so that these people can move in and not have to worry about down payments. Worry about just getting on your feet. Let me try to help people with jobs. Let me try to help with job training. There's so many ways that this man, having the resources and the funds that he has, can help the homelessness, and he's not doing it. He's trying to make his pockets fatter with products and devices and things of that nature. And it's like, you already made your $1 billion. Take some of that money. If he took a percentage of it and he would solve the homelessness of like most major cities, like, which is just, it's really sad. So like, you look at that and you say, you're a selfish, what. So it's horrible. But that being said, I think that right now, at this particular point, it is a situation that, while election night was very positive in the sense that we're moving to a direction that is, this is what we want to do, and we want to be better, and we want to be progressive, and we want to be in a situation where people are not doing what our president is doing, and we move away from that. There were some defeats. And right now, like I said, it's not called. It hasn't been called yet, but she is losing by a considerable margin, which is, hopefully that doesn't happen. So, moving from that to the actual to the actual presidential debate, what I'm going to say is that, it is, and before we get that, I want to say, John Wick, I love that name, by the way. The $80 billion went to fund the war. 100% right. They spent so much money, and it was probably triple or quadruple that. So much money on the war. And I said it a million times. George Bush started this problem in 2000, and he used 9/11 as a way to get into Iraq after Afghanistan. And we were fighting 2 wars on 2 fronts. And now, hey, everybody talks about Hillary being a warmonger. Yeah, she was. Our president now is, and he has the power. And there are so many Republicans that have that same mentality that they want to be dominant, they want to be this. And guess what? I'm just going to touch on this. I'm not going to go into it, but I say it a million times. It worries me every day when we talk about Russia and we talk about their aggression and we talk about China. China used to be a peaceful place. And, you used to say, oh, the Chinese, I remember there was a South Park episode where the Chinese are not going to ever attack us. And then at the end of the episode, they did. I love South Park. A lot of you are going to have to understand that when I'm on the air, I will reference South Park quite a bit. I love that show. But, we've been a warmongering country for the better part of 100 years. Okay, I know in World War I, we had to save Europe because it was under siege. World War II, same thing. Korean War, I still to this day don't understand why we were there. That was none of our business. I get that, Japan, we had allies in the region, but like I've said it a million times, why were we involved in that? Vietnam, we shouldn't have been in that war. That was just like the French got their butts kicked, and next thing you know, we came and bailed them out. I'm like, once again, sticking our nose in business. So, and there were so many other little skirmishes that just happened. The point is, at the end of the day, it's just like, these wars are expensive and we spend so much money on them. So, getting to the campaign right now, one of the things that happened, and Jordan has referenced it quite a few times, quite a bit. He has literally said how many times how CNN props up whoever is their sort of like taste of the moment, taste of the day. They started off in the beginning, Biden, yay, Biden, woohoo. CNN then started to notice, oh, Biden's got some chinks in the armor, some very blatant chinks, which I referenced yesterday. Can't finish a sentence, seems to demean people under the age of 18 who can't vote by calling him a child. On top of that, lies about something he truthfully doesn't have to lie about. And you spoke to your son about the Ukraine thing. Say you did. Don't come out and say, oh, I didn't speak about that. Every father would give their son advice about a job that they were going to take. My son gets to be 18, 19, even younger than that, and he wants to get a job. I'm going to say he is Joey the fourth. He is my baby Joey, which, he'll see this and say, what are you doing? South Park made quite a few things discussable. Yes, Ven de Sutter. Yes, it did. It's really weird. It's like South Park and The Simpsons are the two that are really... it's like they predict the future and touch on topics nobody else wants to touch on. It's great. But what I will say is that at the end of the day, it is 100% a fact that CNN... like they take these tastes of the moments and they prop them up. Well, guess what? They're doing it again because CNN is now, kind of noticing that CNN is talking about that they are going to give a town hall for several people that truthfully don't deserve it. And it's like kind of crazy to me because this is what they're doing. They're talking about that CNN to host a Iowa presidential town hall with Joe Biden and Tom Sawyer? Like, are you serious to me? Like, are you kidding me? That they're going to host a Tom Sawyer and Joe Biden? Like, Tom Sawyer is polling at Steiner, Tom Steiner, I don't know why I'm saying Sawyer. Tom Sawyer has 2%. Like, 2%? Are we kidding? Here, 2%. Like, are you even in this anymore? Why are you in a town hall when you're at 2%? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, at this point, like, you look at that and say, okay, 10+%, yes, but 2%? Are you kidding me? This is absolutely ridiculous. And see, one of the things I had to do, because I just like to do this, and by the way, if you haven't followed me yet, please follow me at Real J Francis. This is what I wrote. I called it out. I put CNN. I said, don't understand how CNN is having a town hall for Biden and Steyer, but not Warren, not Sanders, or even Kamala Harris? Favoritism much? Like, I look at that and I say to myself, like, really? Really? Like, are you kidding me? Like, you're giving somebody who's at 2% the floor. So what? They can get to 4%? Are you like, I don't even get that. And then, of course, because Biden is their golden child, guess what? They're giving Biden the floor. Okay? 100%. Biden is polling at 17%. Warren is at 22%. Sanders is at 19%. And as we've spoken many times over the last couple of days, we don't know if those numbers are accurate, but let's just say for the sake of this discussion and bring it out to you, that is the actual numbers. Where's Warren's town hall? Where is Sanders' town hall? Heck, Kamala Harris is at 11%. Where's her town hall? Why is Steyer being given the floor? Why is he even in this at this point? He's 2%. Nationally, I think it's like 3%. I don't even, and it's so little. It's like, can you please just drop out? Can you please just announce it? Call it where it is. Call it what it is. Like, I don't even understand this. I don't even understand this. Like, it's 100%. It's so horrible that he's given the floor. Like, he's given the floor. So I'm going to play something in a second that I actually downloaded and actually had to put because it just so happened I had it on the TV and I actually heard this. And it just looked like, I said to myself, why are they playing this? But I couldn't like understand it or whatever the case may be. I just couldn't understand it. So I 100% want to play this. But before I do, I definitely want to acknowledge and say once again and remind you, if you got some time, please donate to the Status Coup GoFundMe page. We haven't had a donation in about 11 hours. I would love to get one while I'm on the air. That would be fantastic. We are less than $700 away from $82,000, and that is a really good goal we would like to crush and really get to. So if you haven't donated to the GoFundMe, $1, $2, $3, there's also whatever you got, whatever you can give at the time. There's also donate in the Super Chat. The Super Chat is there. We would love to get a donate. We haven't gotten one. I want to get one donation, one Super Chat in the thing. Also, please, this is the best way for us to join. It is the Status Coup membership join. I haven't said it yet because I didn't want to beat people down today. I want to give people a little bit of a break, but membership is how we grow in the long term. The membership is how you're going to get, over the next couple of months and even weeks, there's going to be some really good membership only content that you guys are definitely want to see. And it's as little as $5 to $10 a month. Like, truthfully, that's a cup of coffee. Like, we spend that on a cup of coffee per day. This is $5 a month. So definitely there's going to be some members only content. So I 100% want you guys to check that out and join us there. But this is what's happening. You hear this tone, and I think this is fantastic. And I'm just hoping that you understand that when I saw this, I thought it was hilarious.
One other big poll that surprised me, a new poll out of Iowa among Democratic likely caucus goers. It has Warren at 20%, Buttigieg at 19%. That's in the margin of error. Sanders at 17%, also in the margin of error. Biden is in fourth place at 15%, and that's followed by Klobuchar and Harris, and then there's a three-way tie at the bottom. Joe Biden in fourth place in Iowa is staggering and awesome.
So I find it hilarious, and I'm gonna play that one more time. Actually, I find it hilarious. Let's play that one more time.
Right. Bump that people are talking about, that's real.
That is real, and when it comes to Biden, his campaign for a while now has been telegraphing that he may not come in first or second in Iowa, and now these polls are starting to show that. There's the chance that he also doesn't come first or second in New Hampshire, and so
So I find it hilarious because you hear the Biden in fourth place. that's absurd. like the tone is so kind of ridiculous. It kind of sounds like a wrestling promo where you're sitting up there and you're like, "Hey, let me talk to your brother," and it's that extra like emphasis, like, "This is insane. How could he be in fourth place?" What do you mean, how can he be in fourth place? Have you guys been paying attention? Has CNN been paying attention to what has happened over the last, like, 2 to 3 months with Joe Biden? Like, have they been paying attention? Like, I don't even understand how you could be surprised he's in fourth place. I'm surprised he's not lower. I'm surprised he's not below 10%. But like I said yesterday, I believe there's a lot of, like Biden supporters that believe 100% that he is the way to go. Like, it's Smoking Joe, you know? It's absolutely hilarious. Biden in fourth place. Oh my God. Biden's inappropriate behavior and not provided $2. Whoever donated the $2, thank you so much. What about Biden's inappropriate behavior? Oh, let's see. We already named it, but let's talk about it. So first, totally denies I had never had a conversation with my son ever about any job. Really? Because we believe you there. Once again, that's a lie. Blatant. Common sense tells you that. 2, excuse me, I don't know what we're doing, child. Really? Because I'm going to tell you right now, when I was 17 years old, you called me a child, I'd have looked at you and said, "Screw you." Like, that's just me. I that's so disrespectful. It's so demeaning and condescending. And then, you know, every time he talks, you ask him, "Hey, Joe, what type of shirt are you wearing?" And he's like, "Well, the shirt's made of, well, my pants are great. Can you see my pants?" Like, dude, answer the question. And if he doesn't answer the question, he goes off on a tangent about something else. And I'm going to tell you right now, there was a point where I thought Joe Biden was actually pretty entertaining and seemed like a good guy. Like, when him and Obama went into that sandwich store and they were getting lunch, I was like, oh, they seem like a regular couple of guys. That was such a cool video. Now I'm starting to take a closer look, and I've been taking a closer look, and I'm like, you're lying like Trump. You know, you kind of, everything out of your mouth is questionable. And every time somebody asks you a blatant situation, you know, a blatant question, you can't answer it. Right? Okay. And then the inappropriate behavior, and this is what I'm going to say. The inappropriate behavior is just, oh my God. Like, dude, stop hugging people for more than like a second. Okay? I remember a while back there was a video where he was like, you know, he was going like this to a girl, like the girl was in front of him. It was she was getting an award and he's on her, he's rubbing her shoulders. And I looked at it and he rubbed her shoulders for about 5 minutes. And I'm like, dude, first of all, I'm not stepping in behind this, a girl who's like 13, 14, 15. I'm going to step to the side. I'm going to put my hand around her, give her a pat and say, "Good job." And then I'm going to take my arm off of her. That was the creepiest thing I ever seen. And up until that point, I said, you know, he's not trying to be inappropriate. It's just, that's the way he is. He's an old guy. He's like Uncle Joe's. Like, you have an uncle who comes and gives you a long hug and you're like, "Oh, good, yay, hug." And then you say, "Back up." Like, "I need my space." It's like, dude, stop it. Stop it. Okay, so those are 4 main things. I've been off the Biden trail for a long time. I was never really on it, but I definitely said, let me think about it. No, not thinking about it. It's really horrible. And it was so creepy. It was such a bad situation. So, and we're not even talking about the things that I'm sure haven't even been brought up. There's so many things that haven't been brought up. The bottom line is that I find it so hilarious. And I'm going to try to play it one more time because I think it's hilarious. Please, I want this to play. But I definitely want to get this and play it. And yeah. I'm trying to get it to play and rewind because I thought that was hands down amazing. Here we go. This should work. Oh no, it's not working. I wanted to play it one more time because I think that it's so great, but it's not working. It's like stopping it from the place. But I thought that was so great. I thought that was such a situation that, like, it's so surprised. And they're giving this guy a town hall. And honestly, I want to watch it because there's a part of me that says, how much more is he going to screw up? Like, I feel like they should let him screw up. But I put in my tweet to CNN, and I don't know if they would ever respond, but at the end of the day, if you're going to give Biden a town hall and you're going to give Tom Steyer a town hall, you should be giving everybody a town hall. And you already did. I get that you already did, but now you're giving these two guys a town hall for what? Like, I want to see Sanders with a town hall. I want to see Elizabeth Warren with a town hall, and I want to see Kamala Harris with a town hall, just to be fair. I know Kamala Harris is just as low as Steyer, if getting close to there, but at the end of the day, just be fair. Let's give all the candidates a fair platform, speak their mind, and that way we can see who the strong candidate is. And we already know, in my opinion, who that is. So, once again, and I want to say this very clearly, if you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button, okay? We want to see that. So, definitely, yeah, a lot of people, Biden is a joke. You're 100%. And that is a good thing. Right now, membership, like this is where we're at. We're at 727. I believe we're 728. I believe while we've been on the air or close to it, we got another member. So we're at 728 technically. That just happened, but this is showing 728. Look, we want to get to 800 in the next couple of weeks, and we definitely want to get to 1,000 before the new year. So if you haven't joined Status Coup membership, please do. It is the way we are going to get all the membership content you can go to. It is not a bad thing. Also, if you haven't liked us, haven't shared us, please do follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/statuscoup. And we're on Twitch. If the person who is in the super chat, I don't think it's Jen, I think it's Colin, please put that Twitch link in the super chat, because that is, I know people are, it's so much easier to click on a link and do that. Second day of streaming live on Twitch, so happy to see that, happy to do that. So, want to get to something that is going to basically lead to a little plug. As many of you know, in the next week and a half, we are going to be going to Keystone. And thank you very much, Colin, for updating the graphic. We're going to be going to Nebraska, South Dakota, and Montana. And we're going to have live feeds from the road. Thanks to our live view technology paid for by you guys. We're going to have that. We're going to be there. We're going to be on the road. We're going to be covering Keystone. We're going to be covering people ousted by the government who had their land taken away just so that they can put this pipeline into the place, into the masses. We're also going to be covering interviews of just people's livelihood, because obviously this is affecting so many people. We are going to be interviewing, getting all the stories. We are going to be talking about everything that's going on. There's so many protests. There's so many hearings. There's so many meetings. Everything's happening because this is a serious situation. It's a serious situation that in case many of you most of you might know, some of you might not know, over the weekend, the original Keystone Pipeline burst and close to 380,000 gallons of oil went across North Dakota. And very much a bad situation, because at the end of the day, that's the environment. That's the thing that we in this world have only one of. There's only one planet Earth. Last time I checked, we have not gone to other planets and colonized. We don't have another planet to go to. If this planet conks out, 7 billion lives are going to be lost. And as you can see, my trusty Star Trek mug that I love so much, I love the idea of one day going to space and having colonies on other planets and all that cool stuff. That would be awesome. Guess what? We're not there yet. We're not going to be there for at least another 100 years. So guess what? While we are here, and even beyond, when we have the capability to go to other planets, guess what? We cannot do anything but take care of our planet. So, in a surprising move, and I know I just got finished kind of making fun of CNN and doing some media coverage that way, but in a surprising move, CNN actually had a story about global warming. And I was very shocked, because they never really talk about global warming. It's very weird, but it's something that I said, it has to deal with scientists, and 100% you look at the situation and you hear what is happening, and the title says it all. 11,000 scientists warn of untold suffering caused by climate change. That is the bottom line. And I've said this on the show last week. I'm going to continue to say it, and this is genuinely how I feel. If you believe that global warming is fake or doesn't exist, or climate change is wrong or doesn't exist, we cannot have an intelligent conversation. Because we have 11,000 scientists, and I believe so many more that have come out on record, 11,000 scientists coming out and saying, there's a problem. So I'm going to play this video, and I want you guys to hear it because I thought it was very interesting.
Times in the middle of winter, a cold front will pass by and Twitter will light up with, "Where's global warming when you need it?" Well, it's not that far away. You see, major cold air outbreaks in one part of the world are teleconnected or directly related to major warm-ups in another part. So a particularly cold January is not necessarily abnormal even in a global warming world, because someone down the jet stream will be having an equally warmer month instead. In other words, just because you need your winter coat during a cold spell doesn't mean the entire planet is colder. If the jet stream moves closer to the equator than usual, it'll be colder than normal. And the opposite is true if the jet stream stays closer to the poles. The term global warming is related to the overall fever that the Earth has seen since 1901. The Earth is between 1.3 and 1.6 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than it was in 1900. In fact, globally, the hottest 5 years on record have occurred since 2014. Yes, that's the top 5 hottest in the last 5 years.
So, short video, nice basic facts. I think one of the things that stood out to me about that story and about that video is that it was so many different people coming out and saying, there's a problem, okay? There is 100% a problem. And Becca, love Star Trek, glad you love it. Keep that dream alive, because yes, a lot of those stories are so relevant to right now. We're talking World War III coming, we're talking global warming, we're talking famine, hunger, all that stuff. Star Trek hits it on all. I feel like Gene Roddenberry, and I've said this many times, Gene Roddenberry was 100% like from the future. He came back, created Star Trek as a warning. That's a joke. That's a little conspiracy I have, but it is so funny. Kelly Elaine, where's Al Gore on all of this? South Park would say he's flying around with a cape to find Man Bear Pig. So, the joke. It's 100% a problem. And I think that for me, you have 11,000 people talk about something, and these are scientists, and there could only be 15 to 20,000 like actual scientists in the world. I mean, the reason why you're a scientist is because you've dedicated your life to fact and gathering information to solve a problem. That's the core definition of a scientist. And definitely want to thank Not Provided Again. How do I talk to Republicans who say God's in control? Had to say this. This is important. I don't mean to sound unkind. That's a great question. How do you talk to Republicans that say God is in control? I try to keep religion out of my life. I was raised in a Catholic house. I was raised Catholic and Christian, sort of Baptist Christian, and one thing I've said is that I respect people that are into religion. I respect that if that's the way you want to live your life. But at the end of the day, how are we going to leave our, destiny up to something we haven't seen or actually dealt with? I said last week that I am the type of person I believe what I see. So what I say to people, and people have said that to me, God is in control. I say, well, you know what? That's great that God is in control, but I'm going to just go out on a limb here and say, while he's away, because he's not here dealing with the problem on the ground, why don't we take a little ownership of this? Why don't we figure it out? That's been my answer to them. And they say, fair enough, because why not Why not plan for the worst and hope for the best? That's the way I live my life. I plan for the worst and hope for the best. So, it is unbelievable to me that the hottest years on record, the last 3 to 4 years, are on record, and people still debate this global warming thing and this climate change thing, and that the environment is okay. And they still say this, and they say this with such conviction that it makes me go, what? How are you so convinced of this? The bottom line is that there are situations that are right now that when you look at photos from NASA, you look at photos from situations from people who are involved in climate change and things like that, where you see like this much of the polar ice caps 20 years ago, and now it's this much, where it's snow capped, and now there's brown, and you see evidence of polar bears looking skinny because they don't have any place to go because there's no ice anymore. And these are animals that were bred to live in sub-zero temperatures. That's where they lived all their lives. And now, wait a second, it's 35 degrees. It must feel like summertime for them. So, not really good. There's evidence all over the place. And at the end of the day, it's evidence that I know so many people say to me, oh man, hey, guess what? Oh, that was photoshopped. That was edited. Okay, if there's 1 million photos online that are edited, not all of them are edited. Half of them are edited. The other half gotta be real. Even if there was one photo that was real out of 1 million, that still means that there's a real problem because there's real evidence. So I look at that and I say, our world has to be better. People in control, in power, people who have billions of dollars to wrap this all up, is that they have to contribute to not only homelessness, they have to contribute to not only helping society educate themselves and become better and become the bigger people. They not only have to, use their resources to fight the environment and do things and not be a part of the problem, but you know what? How about you start saying, let's get to a point where we actually make a conscious effort to change what is happening. I said it last week and I'll say it again. What happened to the electric cars that GM and Chevrolet and Ford and all of them were starting to build? The Chevy Volt was the big thing, and now guess what? I haven't seen a Chevy Volt on the car, and charging stations were being put up all over the city. Now they're going away. There was a conscious movement in 2010, 11, 12, where people were like, we got to get to electric cars. Guess what? It's not happening anymore. Not happening anymore. And I look at that and I say, I don't understand why not just take a chance? Like, I don't understand it. I've never got how people, and I was in New York during Hurricane Sandy, and I remember leading up to the reports, there was, Mike Bloomberg said it multiple times. This isn't a big deal. This is not a problem. Don't worry about it. You're fine. I believe Governor Cuomo, if I'm not mistaken, was involved then too. He was newly governor, or he was like, yeah, it's not a problem. Don't worry about it. Hey. And then Hurricane Sandy hit, and the governor of New Jersey got a major problem. The governor, the Jersey Shore was destroyed. Coney Island, you couldn't get to Coney Island for 4 days because there was rivers everywhere. And everybody was like, wait, it was just a hurricane category 1 or 2. Not even, it was more like a superstorm. And I was one of those people that said it's not a big deal. It's just a lot of rain. It's not even, the wind was 40, 50 miles an hour, which is still substantial, but not devastating. But then you start to realize that it dumped close to 3 feet of water in the span of 12 hours. The reason why we have storms like that are supercharged and have a lot more rain is because of climate change. Okay? Climate change is what does it. We went from when I was, 16, we had a blizzard. And I remember that blizzard. We didn't get to go to school. I was 16. I didn't have to go to school for 3 days. And the blizzard was probably about 2 feet. I would say maybe 1.5 feet. And you said, great. But you know when that snowstorm was? End of January. When it's supposed to happen. Now we get 75-degree days in December. And we get snowstorms in April. Okay? So, I just look at it and I thought that this was a really cool story. I love, talking about climate change is something I'm passionate about. Like, really, if you're not educated about it, understand it's a real thing. You don't even have to educate yourself about it. Just say, this is a real thing. And the powers that be got to fix it. They have the power to make electrical cars, plant trees, get emissions down, get away from fossil fuels, go to solar power, go to wind power, go to nuclear power. They have the capabilities. And you know what? If you want to talk to them in their language, anybody else out there who talks, if you want to talk to them in their language, just say, there's a lot of money to be made by changing from fossil fuels to renewable energy. There's a lot of money to be made, especially if you're the one making the products or whatever. You just got to do it, and it's going to help our planet. It's going to help us. So, definitely want to, didn't the whole country freeze a couple of years ago? I don't know. It's kind of warm in here. So, Jordan is having a vision quest in American Indian Territory. Maybe. That's possible. Joseph, you think you might be wrong in electric cars. There's a ton of Teslas on the West Coast and growing enterprise. You're 100% right. Kudos, and I said this a million times, kudos to Elon Musk for making electric chairs. Teslas are, I've driven one. I've been in one. It's a great car. Here's the problem with Teslas. Here's the problem with Teslas, and I've said this a million times. Bella LaBella, they're expensive, okay? Not only are they expensive to buy, they're expensive to maintain, and if you get a scrape or a scratch on the car, it's not $200 or $300 to fix. It's thousands of dollars. Tesla has the cheaper model, but even the cheaper model is hard to maintain. And here's the problem I said. If you don't make cars affordable, people are not going to buy them. They're going to keep going for the guzzlers because at the bottom line, people have budgets that they can't get past. But I love the Tesla, so I hope eventually Tesla gets a situation where they can make cheaper cars and electric cars are the wave of the future. I want to see that in my lifetime. But yeah, we definitely got to keep there. F Elon, I get why you would say that, but I will say Tesla is a great product. Tesla is an electric car that could be the way of the future. So, that being said, I want to thank everybody. And hold on, it's easy to regulate liberal talking points when you're not the one who is losing millions of dollars. I get it, but and I 100% agree with that. But the problem I'll tell you is, liberal talking points have merit and have a point, because if the capitalists and the people who are controlling the business keep going down this road, they're not going to have anybody to sell their products to. That's the bottom line, because they're talking 30 to 50 years where downtown Manhattan is going to be underwater because the water is rising, and it maybe not be rising fast. I mean, 30 to 50 years is the situation, but they literally said that we are coming dangerously close to the point of no return. Okay? Many scientists have said that 5 years ago, we were 15 years out from point of no return. Guess what? We're 5 years later, and now the Brazilian rainforest has been burned, like a lot of it, and now guess what? That number's probably, I'm pretty sure, has been cut in half. So we're getting dangerously close. So, I get the liberal talking points. I get why people would resist it, because some of those talking points mean spending money and not making money. But at the end of the day, what are you going to do if you got nobody to sell your products to? You're certainly not going to make a lot of money then. Just a thought. So, and yes, we do need solar powers. Yes. Once again, if you are in our realm, the Status Quo Nation, please, we want you to join. We want you to be a part of everything that we are. Like this live stream, share the live stream. That way we can get more members. Join our email list. That way we can have give you notices of things coming up. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch, please, because those are the things that definitely help us to be get the notice out there. And once again, I'm going to say this again, have not had any GoFundMes in the last Actually, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. I was about to say in the last 12 hours, but 26 minutes ago, Corey Savignano. Saviano. Hope I'm pronouncing it right. I'm sorry. I'm so bad with names. $27 in the GoFundMe. Shakira Thomas, $5 20 minutes ago. And Jerome Diaz, I hope I'm saying that right. Diaz, $5 in the GoFundMe. We are literally less than $600 away from $82,000. So if you have any type of money, any type of donation that you could give to us, please, thank you. It is much appreciated. And this is how we get out there. This is how we're going to go to North Dakota. This is how we're getting out to Keystone to cover that. And there's so many other stories that we want to cover. Also, the way we cover the bigger stories in the long run is if you are not a Status Coup member, join statuscoup.com/join. $5 membership, $10 membership. And then there's other good stuff. There's going to be members only content that we are going to be putting out there that we definitely want you to get. So with that said, I love it so much when everybody's engaged. I love the conversation. Please, whenever I'm on, whenever Jordan's on, put all your comments, put all your questions. That's who we love. We love you so much. Keep supporting us. And everybody, be safe on this nice Wednesday night. Have a good evening. Talk to you soon.